And Alyona, over to you in Moscow. You've said that 50% is still a pretty good margin for any democratically elected parliament. But why do you think the popularity of the party did drop since the last election?
I want to tell you that we had a financial crisis in 2008, and you remember it. And it's first of all. The second, there are some different problems in Russia which should be solved. And people, some people support actions of United Russia. Some of them maybe want to suggest something else. And this result is a sign for United Russia that United Russia should be changed or transformed. And it's a signal. And I want to react on some words on my colleagues. It's a lie that these elections were unfair, and I really don't want you to ignore the official reports of observers. And I want to underline that I'm really not happy because my colleagues told that I'm a happy young woman or something like this. It's not enough percent for me to become a deputy to the State Duma, and I'm not really happy. So I'm in Moscow and can tell you the truth. And you're in London, so you read only newspapers and you really don't see what's happening on the Moscow streets. I really want to tell you that one American Fox channel, this channel, yesterday they showed the picture of Greek protests as the picture of Russia protests. So I really don't understand what for this was made by this TV company, but they showed the pictures of Greek protests as Russia protests.
I want to throw that one over to Alex. Alyona was suggesting that Western media presents a sort of stilted and one-sided version of what's going on in Russia. Do you agree with that?
Alyona, I absolutely understand that sitting in London, there is a limit to what one can say about what's going on in Moscow, and I'm very sensitive to that. At the same time, I don't think you should take what is presented on Fox News as representative of the opinion of a large part of Western policymakers or analysts, or indeed of the Western media. Fox News is something of a law unto itself, and there has been a lot of much more sober analysis which has emphasized on the one hand that United Russia formally gained 50% of the vote, and on the other hand has drawn attention to the fact that as well as protests organized by Nashi, which is an organization supported by the Kremlin, there have been protests organized by civil society, by opponents of the regime, including a very large one which is due to take place tomorrow.
Talking about these political protests, it's hard to assess the momentum of these kind of events. How do you view the demonstrations? Are they just an opportunity for ordinary people to air their grievances, or do they signal something different? Do they signal a shift in attitudes that could yield real political change in Russia? Victor?
I think both of your statements are correct. It is, Russia definitely is a different country to compare it. Let's say 5th of December, Russia is a completely different country to the one it used to be, let's say 5th of November. The results of these elections and the way people perceive these results and the way the elections, in the manner in which elections were held, made the whole society probably very unhappy about it. And you do see some kind of a rise of civil movement in Russia. At the same time, there are political leaders and very divided political leaders, both on liberal side of the political scene in Russia and on nationalist or right side, if you want to call it this way. And all of them are divided, and all of them are trying to pull those people which are discontent with the current situation on their side. And obviously the people who are in power are using this situation in their own favor. So the whole process is quite complex, but the country has changed, and these elections which took place 4th of December in Russia changed the civil society.
Alex, following on from what Viktor was saying, how do you evaluate the opposition parties in Russia? Does any of them represent an alternative, or instead the lack of any realistic alternative?
I think this is the big problem which Russia faces at the moment. If we look at the protest which is due to take place tomorrow, there has already been disagreements between different parts of the opposition about where it should be held. There is no clear leader. And I would say that at present there is a lack of a clear alternative and a clear agenda. There is also a split between the so-called systemic opposition, which sits in parliament or at least ballots for parliament, and those who sit outside it and, as I said before, simply refuse to take part or are unable to take part in the political process. So at the moment, I think the key thing that has changed, and I agree with Viktor, is not now that there is this opposition, but that there has been a change of mood. That we've talked for many years about the fact that society is passive, that there is no civil society. I think that's been shown to be false. People are political, they are unhappy, and I think the taboo has been taken away from criticizing power, from criticizing the Kremlin. And the legitimacy of the elites is starting to ebb. Now, I'm not saying that they can't respond to that, but it's going to be a big challenge. And if they are unable to, then I think we will see more of these events and greater instability as we go into another 6 years of Vladimir Putin.
I'm going to end with one final question on the point that Alex just raised, and I'm going to open it up to all of you. A few weeks ago, you would never have bet against Vladimir Putin becoming president again in March next year. Is that still so certain? First with Viktor.
It's not so certain as it used to be a month ago. As I said, the country is completely different from what it used to be before the elections. But at the same time, if you're asking me whether I should put money on Vladimir Putin in March, I would still say yes, I would. I would put money on him because we see the way the manner in which elections were conducted. We still don't know the manner in which the votes are counted, and you can imagine if there is so much fraud in the elective process, how much fraud you can find in the counting, and that's the result. That would be the result. But I do totally agree with Alex. The future of Russia lies now on the side of the, let's say, people who are in power right now. The ball is on their side because the way. It all depends how flexible they will be now. It all depends how they will accept that there is a change, that the country is asking for a change. If they will be able to face those demands which the civil society is putting on the table now, then Russia has future for it. If not, then it all can go into uncertainty.
Alyona, how do you respond?
I really want to react. I want to see in Russia very strong parties besides United Russia. And of course, United Russia, the problem of United Russia is that United Russia needs the serious opponent, political opponent. And for example, communists or Fair Russia or Yabloko or other political parties, they are very and not so strong as United Russia. So, and as for Vladimir Putin, we'll see what people will vote or not for Vladimir Putin. But I want to tell you that there are a lot of people who really support these men, and there are a lot of people in Russia who really remember the state of the state of Russia, the condition of Russia 10 years before, when there was no bread in the shops, and I really want to underline this. And Vladimir Putin made a lot of efforts to make Russia stronger and prosperous.
Alex, quick final comment from you.
Just to say that Putin's popularity, like United Russia's, has fallen, not as far, but I think we're likely to see him as president on March the 5th.
I was joined by Alex Nice, researcher on the Russia programme for the foreign affairs think tank Chatham House, Viktor Balagadde, London editor of the liberal business newspaper Kommersant UK, and over the phone from Moscow, Alyona Arshinova, chairman of the United Russia Party's youth movement.